All right, let's open the floor for questions. We're here to hear from you. Go ahead.
I have a brother who had his card
Yes.
in the beginning, was registered as an Indian in 1945, and with this process has his card taken from him, and he's pretty sick. He's a pretty sick boy, and you know, what are we going to be doing for those people?
Remember, the services or benefits of these being membership in health organization doesn't stop until you actually decide next spring through an order in council that they're gone, and then the services will be gone. Likewise, anybody new coming to this band that got a letter today, some people did get a letter saying you've been accepted into Qalipu for the first time. They won't get the benefits either until the new order in council comes in place in March of 2018. I have a commitment from Canada. I like your question. To deal with hardship cases, all right? And your brother might be one of those. If he, and in the end of the day, I'm not saying he's going to be out of this process when it's all finished, but if he is in that situation, there's a hardship case involved, yes, we're going to take care of it. I've also made a request to Canada. I didn't tell you this earlier, I'll just share it with you. I'm asking Canada to allow the drug program particularly, to be extended for those people that get knocked out of this process that have cards today. Something like for at least 5 years or up to 65, something like that. I haven't got an answer back yet, but I'm thinking ahead of the need to protect our people, particularly with the drug programs. But now we're going to hurt that process for some people. So we are going to look at that situation. I need to know about that because Canada has committed to look after hardship cases, and it sounds like your brother's situation might be one in the event he's not in our band next year.
He had to move away from home for work. Like, he spent 36 years in the military. I'm telling you, it's pitting family member against family member.
Absolutely, we know it.
You know?
That's the shame of all this.
And I say, Malcolm, what can I do? You know?
Yeah.
My hands are tied. And he's got the no right to appeal letter, you know? And,
Okay.
and it's sad. Of all my children, they've all been accepted with the exception of one. Because she had to move to St. John's to work. She's a member of this band.
Wow.
And her daughter was refused. They have the right to appeal, but her son is accepted. Luckily, fortunately, he's living with me, the son. But you know, and we're all hurting over this process. It's very, very sad.
Thank you. I feel you're hurt. Gentleman over here in the corner has his hand up.
Did I hear you say 65 on extended benefits?
Possibly. We're not there yet. This is just something I've asked for.
This is my point. You're talking 65. You're talking about picking on the elders when you need it most. That's not right.
Yeah, well, I was told that when people get to be 65, the government programs kick in and give
Not
them their drugs.
everybody.
Oh, I didn't know that. Anyway.
If you're very poor beyond the poverty stage, they'll give you a medical card.
Yeah.
And if you go $30 over it, they'll take it away from you.
Sure. What I'd like to do at the end of the day is not take anybody's card away that got it, so you'll all have the program. That's the objective that I'm trying to accomplish. Haven't had a whole lot of luck with it yet, though, with Canada, but this is where we're trying. But thank you for your comment. I appreciate
But
what you said.
we're not going to get it by saying we're satisfied to accept 65.
Thank you. I'll change the number to get right here.
2009, we got a letter saying it was final and binding.
Right.
But now it's not final and binding? So now you're telling me the process when we're finished here is final and binding. So if it's not final in 2009, what makes it final after this process is over?
Good comment. You got a letter in 2009 said you're in the band. Canada had 30 days to appeal that situation. They didn't do it. They said you're here. Congratulations, you're in. No one's going to hurt you. Something has changed now, hasn't it? Now they're saying you're not there anymore. So there will be an argument made against Canada in court, I'm sure. You told these people, you told our people in 2009, you're giving them the card, you're giving them the membership in Qalipu as a First Nations person, and you never complained about it, but you had 30 days to do it, but you didn't say anything. And now we're changing the rules of the game, aren't we, to do something different. This is a good point, but that will be contested, I'm telling you, in court. Yes?
My question is, what happens if we move away from our community? If we're a founding member and we decide to go and live with one of our children
Right.
as we get older, will we lose our card?
No, nothing will happen to you. The problem we got was during the enrollment process, people lived away and made applications, and the rules for people living away were a little different from people living in what we call accepted Aboriginal communities of Newfoundland, which were 66. So if you have your card when this is all over and you decide to go to your daughter for 6 months a year for the next, hopefully next 50 years, yeah, you won't lose your benefits. No, it's done then, and you can't lose those benefits, okay? Next.
Yes, Chief Mitchell, my daughter was a family member of the Qalipu,
Yes.
and her son had their rejection letter. She lives in Manitoba, and she's working on the reserves. My grandson goes to school on a reserve, and what I'm saying, she was rejected because she didn't belong to a band.
Okay.
In 1999, she was on the band list here in Flat Bay.
Yes.
She had verification from the band that she was a member, and still she was rejected.
All right, if she was a member of the FNI, I mean, she needs to make an appeal, of course.
Oh, she's
Yeah,
got
and
a
we'll be
chance to
appealing for it. I
appeal.
want to share this with you, though. Any rejected child, and she could be 40 as a child, or 30, or could be 14 months old. Any rejected person that has a parent, not just a family member, a parent, who is a member of Qalipu First Nation, there is nothing that can stop them from getting recognition in this band. And that's in the Indian Act. But here's the catch. Understand this. So you're a member of Qalipu when your daughter loses her card for forever. Okay, but she can apply to come under you, but she will be what's called a 6-2 Indian under the Indian Section 6.2, as you are a 6.1. The problem with that is your grandchild is out of the process.
I realize all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And in saying all that, I have family members who live away from Newfoundland, has been living away, and they get keep her.
I'm not sure all the
We
details
applied
of
as
what
a
happened.
family.
Yes. And if your
This all
daughter,
went in a
if your
package.
daughter was a member of your band here in Flat Bay or elsewhere, they should have had 9 points as a start.
Exactly.
And is that all she got out of this process? Was
No, no,
9?
she had 5 points for keeping in contact with the fire.
So 9 and 5 is 14. Why is she not a member?
Exactly.
So how could you lose a card?
My question.
Put your appeal in.
She is going
We'll
to
fix- well, that's an easy one to fix.
And Teddy spoke of his brother, well, also that's my brother.
All right. Well, thank
And
you.
he is very upset.
I bet he is. I talk to a lot of upset
And
people
along
every
with
day.
Teddy, I'm getting phone calls.
I know you are. I know you
And I
are.
go to bed at night, my stomach is knotted.
I know.
I get up in the morning, my stomach is knotted.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to have that card? No, I'm not. There's too many people hurting.
I know it. I feel the hurt. I've heard it. I know it. It's in my own family too. We're all losing people. Over here in the yellow coat.
I'm a member, I got accepted.
Yes.
Okay, my son got rejected. His daughter got accepted. I am furious.
I'm not sure what went wrong. I'm not sure how carefully people looked at this stuff, how many mistakes were made. Because all I've heard today was mistake after mistake.
Was it looked at, half of those applications?
It was supposed to have been.
It was so
Okay,
close.
thank you. Right here and then back.
Who was on the enrollment committee that was appointed by the FNI?
Well, there were a number of people since the beginning. The very first enrollment committee people were Lady McDonald and a lady named Marilyn Bruce. And the other two people were people from Canada, representatives. And then with the expansion of the enrollment committee, and people came in and left. There have been a number of people, I can't remember who everybody is right now, but a lot of different people came in over the last, say, 8 years we've been involved in this process.
I have a number of questions here. People have been emailing me, so I'm going to ask you a few more. Ronald Penny said that the members appointed by the FNI were accountable to the FNI's Chief Mitchell. Have you spoken to these members of the enrollment committee appointed by the FNI? And if not, will you?
I have spoken with them actually, to try to find out, what went wrong in these processes. How is it all going? Getting reports from time to time, and most of the stuff I heard, well, we're working along pretty good. Some people, though, expressed concern that a lot of people will be impacted. And I believe some people who are involved in these files may have left the enrollment committee out of concern about what potentially could happen, what the impending result would be, and they says, I just got other things to do right now, I'm busy. But maybe, you know, they were concerned about what was happening. But altogether, I mean, we finished up with an enrollment committee of 6 people on our side and 6 on Canada. But during that time, a number of people came in and left, you know. And it was probably a number of people, altogether maybe 10 or 11 people. Anything else?
This person says, I live in Ontario. It doesn't mean that I'm not a native. It's in my blood and I'm going through my veins. I'm still practicing my Mi'kmaq ways. I still hunt and pick berries and bottle and preserve like I did when I was home.
Right.
But I didn't get in. It's very hurtful. I visit Newfoundland. You know, my kids, Nicholas and Victoria, my children, they all receive 0 and their points.
I'm not sure about the particular situation on the file. It would appear to me, though, that the evidence that this process asked for probably hasn't been submitted for whatever reason, you know. When you think about ferry tickets and airplane tickets predating, who got that stuff from before 2008? I don't have it. In the back.
Apparently it don't work with the tickets from the boat and the plane and that, because my son sent these in and he's denied. And my husband and my other two children, they're accepted. So it don't matter about your tickets and your receipts or from the boat or whatever.
I'm not sure, but we were led to believe that people put this stuff in, it would be considered and looked at. I'm hoping that, you know, that stuff was not ignored, because that's a shame. We'll take Shane next, and the lady in the back right over here. Shane.
Anyone who's paying attention can tell that the enrollment committee seems like it's made numerous errors. I'm the rejected son from earlier, by the way. So what steps are you taking to make sure that the appeals committee is completely unbiased? We need that safety net.
Thank you. When the appeals group gets picked and selected, and this will be a law firm, I'll be meeting with those people to tell them the rights and reading the riot act about what they should be doing. They have to do their jobs effectively. If someone in the enrollment committee missed something that impacted you or your families, we have to make sure that the appeal masters group, and these are lawyers and paralegals, they do not mess up on these files. We have one chance now to get this straight. As I said earlier, when the appeal master makes a decision, it's over. So we have to make sure that every opportunity is given by way of a proper view or analysis of that file to allow as many people in this band who rightfully should be here. So I'll be involved in that.
So you are taking those steps?
Of course I am.
Okay.
Yeah. Back here.
Hi, there's 21 in my family, and 20 got accepted, and I can't reapply.
How come you couldn't reply? How come you never got accepted? Do you know?
Identification, they say.
Self-ID.
Yeah.
All right. So you applied later, it sounds like, than September 22nd?
I applied, yep, about
All right.
5 years ago.
Yeah, so your self-ID requirements were different probably than your family, who may have pulled their package in together. If they signed their documents, for example, on or before September 22nd, they self-ID'd because they just signed the document. You came in late, so they're saying to you,
So
you
I'm
have
not
it.
Indian.
You have it. They're not saying that. Canada, or we will never say you're not Indian or Aboriginal background. What they're saying is, you're still Indian, you're still Aboriginal, but you never qualify for Halloween First Nation. It's a bit different, but to many people it means the same thing.
Her situation with filing the application late, that didn't work out because my husband, 2 brothers, and my brother-in-law, his son, filled out late. The 3 brothers, my husband and his 2 brothers were rejected, cannot appeal, but 1 brother-in-law's son was accepted. And the application came in as well.
Okay, it's a bit tangly. Is it possible?
Why aren't they allowed to appeal?
The way the regulations, for whatever it is, said, if you didn't self-identify, if you couldn't meet self-identification, you couldn't appeal. In this lady's case, I'm not sure why she didn't meet self-identification here. You're living in an Aboriginal community, and I'd love to see the letter you got. Could you share it with me?
I got it right here.
All right, I'll get a read on it. I'll catch you up in a minute. Anybody else with a question? Right here.
Any of the bands across Canada, do they use DNA blood?
I'm not sure. Typically in Canada for bands, and I'm talking reserve bands here, you know, in that case, they determine who should be in the band. based on what they know about that person's ancestry within what I refer to as their fairly close community. And they don't go through a process like we did. This is the only time this was ever done in Canada. So bands do it differently, and I'm not sure how everybody does it. I don't know maybe if Calvin can help us with that. How do other people, Calvin, determine membership in their bands in Canada? Do you know much about that?
There are 627 bands, I think, across this country, and everyone have a different criteria.
Here, this lady with the turquoise shirt.
Thank you.
Yes.
My son got a copy of Marine Atlantic coming back and forth to Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Once, twice a year for 9 years they printed out. 0 points.
I'm not sure.
Does that make sense? And he
It
is
does
on
not.
the first list.
That does not make sense, really. If he can show proof that he's come back on the island, I don't know how the enrollment committee interprets
They
Marine
couldn't have
Atlantic.
looked at it. They couldn't have.
I'm
Why
not
would
sure how
put
they interpret
0?
Marine Atlantic versus, for example, flying into Deer Lake, which is an Aboriginal community. I don't know if there was some difference there.
Can I pick up on that point?
Yes, Calvin, please.
And I think that you need to make notification of this as soon as possible to the federal government.
Tomorrow.
The Trans-Canada Highway,
Yep.
the Gulf of St. Lawrence and that ferry is our extension. Now, to turn people down because somebody decided that Port aux Basques wasn't an Aboriginal community to port of entry is ludicrous.
Thank you.
I need to send this message.
Thank you, Calvin. I'll be into this particular issue tomorrow morning. Randy and Allison, did you get this one? It's about people coming into Port aux Basques and someone believing they didn't recognize those slips because Port aux Basques wasn't an Aboriginal community, as opposed to someone who flew into Deer Lake, which is an Aboriginal community. We need to get this checked out. Question in the back. Right here, this lady was trying to ask a question. Go ahead, please.
I had a letter come, but I'm not accepted, but I have a chance to appeal.
Okay.
So I don't know what happened there. 'Cause
No, I'm not sure either, but you need to make that
20 of my
appeal.
brothers and sisters and grandchildren.
Yes.
Great-grand, they all got theirs. But
And you didn't.
I didn't.
My brother and I got ours, and she's our mom. She didn't get hers, we got ours. So where did we come from?
My son came from.
It sounds like an awful, distasteful mess to me. That is shameful. I know my girl.
I said to my family, I said, you know, as long as my daughter and my son, they're people that need it.
Yes.
And I said, well, I don't care at my age.
I know, but listen to me. You should care. This is your right, and we got to get into your case situation and find out what's going on. This lady back here next.
First of all, I had 0 points.
Okay.
It says I have no residency, which I'm living here for the past 6 years. I've been a membership in the MEPA organization prior to June 23rd, 2008. I've been with this band since June 1999, and I had 0 points.
For whatever reason, it sounds like to me you got into this on a residency situation, meaning if you were on the point system, someone believed that you weren't a resident here at the
But
time you made your
I
application.
applied for my status card,
Yeah.
the card itself, down in St. George's. So, and they sent that card to my address in St. George's.
So you have a status card right now?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, she's in my package.
Yeah, and now you're saying you're getting kicked out of that and you got on a point system.
I got 0 points and I'm kicked out.
Okay, I just wondered how you'd even be on the point system. Because the point system, remember, was for people who don't live in Aboriginal communities in Newfoundland. And Bay St. George and Port-au-Port and Stephenville, that's all Aboriginal communities. So why you're on the point system? Maybe a mistake. I have no idea about that. I'm not sure how all these mistakes got made. You know, were people paying attention when they did this analysis?
My three kids born and raised in Ontario, they got 9 points each. I got none and I live here.
I know you're lending humor to the situation, but this is not funny. This
No,
is
it's true.
serious.
I'm not letting them.
This
My
is
kids
serious
got
stuff.
9 points each. My husband got 9 points.
Yep.
I've been with my sister when she signed up. I had 0 points, but I can appeal.
But you all live in Newfoundland. You've always lived here.
No, I was away for work for the longest time, but I
Okay.
came home every year. I came to all the powwows.
I'd have
My
to check and
status card
see.
was sent here is where I.
I'd have to look at the date which determines residency. Maybe if you weren't here when you made, were you here when you made your application first?
Not my first application, no.
No,
I
that's
was in
why.
Ontario.
So that address that you had when you first made your application is carrying right now to you. And they're looking at you like a non-resident. And this is why the point system got applied to you.
But I changed my address.
I know, but it has to do when you made your application, where were you living. Who's next up? This gentleman.
Okay, well, like, I mean, they're judging us on where we were when we made our application.
Right.
What about where we are? Like,
Exactly.
myself and my wife first applied, we were in Alberta, right? We were one of those that were forced to go away.
Sure, I understand, yep.
Okay, so we spent our time there and we applied, we got our cards. I got my card right here, she got hers. Opportunity arose, we came home, right? We had a little boy, he was born in Alberta. We applied for him. He's got Newfoundland residency. We've been home for almost 5 years now. Living, working, building a home. He's got points for residency, I don't.
So we're gonna write this down. I need to capture this one also. But you got it, Randy? Thank you very much. Right here, in the beige shirt.
My son was accepted. His first daughter was accepted. The second one was denied. And she's 4 years old. They said because she wasn't born before September 22nd, 2011.
Okay.
His youngest, which is 2 years old,
Yeah.
she got her card.
Just let me tell you about the daughter who's 4 years old. She can't be denied. All your son has to do is make an application for her and she's in. Okay, understand that?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
had a chance to appeal.
So she's going to be in the band. No, not even appeals. Your son can go right now to Indigenous Affairs and say, here's my daughter, here her status card, and you can't deny her because your son is a First Nations person, a 6-1. Okay? But a lot of people don't know that. And they're waiting for the end of this process. So you don't have to wait.
If you have a baby, you
Yes.
can apply.
Immediately, you should. Yes, get that baby registered and get the card. And you don't have to wait for this process to be finished.
What about teenagers, kids that were in university, so they're away from home? I got a daughter that's now a doctor. She couldn't get it in 5 days. She had to go away to be trained.
Right.
And I had other kids in university, and they've all been
So they're finished university now.
finished university, and they're now professionals. But
But how long ago? Where were they living when they
the address
applied?
would have been my home, but they're away at
If
university.
they're living with you when they applied, they're residents of Newfoundland, or residents of your community, and they should have been covered by the
But they're not.
residency application.
That's my brother. We filled out the application together. My daughter's the same thing. Myself and my husband are in. Both my children are out. My daughter was going to university. Her application for residency was home because that's where.
Right, where was the residency when she applied? Home.
Here.
Right, and it should still be that way for her.
That's right. She never did change it. It's still home.
Right. So how did she get kicked out on the point
I
system?
have no idea. They said she
Okay,
had
you need
no
to make it. You need
no
to make an appeal.
communication, no contact.
Yeah.
She was here.
We'll try to get that straightened up. Kellen.
If I could pick up on that, I think there's something else you need to note and make very clear to the government of Canada.
Yep.
Any child that is away for education or going to school, they're not away from home.
No, their residency is right here.
Community,
Absolutely.
Their residence is to where they belong and the family they belong to.
That's
So-
right.
So you need to make sure that they're put on notice about that.
Yeah, I will. Capture that, Randy. Because we got cases now where people were being denied, but when they made their application, they were in university, but where was their residency? Here. I went to university for a lot of years too. I never recall St. John's my residency. It was Cornwall. So I know where you come from. Thank you, Kellen.
My daughter's in the same situation. She was denied, but she was in university in St. John's, and they said had no connection with the community. So she was sponsored in education by FNI.
Right. And you're somebody's telling me she never ever came home or never called
She
home?
would came home when she was
Right.
in school every month.
I know. I'm supporting you on that. I agree with you. I agree with you. What's up? Okay, everybody, hang on.
You said that St. John's was especially hit hard. What are you doing to help them out?
We're going to try to help St. John's in the way we're trying to help any community. I mean, they got a lot of people getting knocked out of this thing, you know, and it's sad.
And the same thing goes with what everybody else has been telling you. This point system is hugely flawed. People have sent in information and it's not even getting looked at.
I know, thank you. Down in the back.
Yes, Ivan White. What assistance is help offering to do appeals for people that need help?
Yep. We have 5 offices starting up tomorrow locally. So we have people there. The phone numbers are on the website. And they're probably in some handouts that we have here tonight too. So if you have a problem, you're concerned about your appeal, and you don't know what to do with it, you have to call these numbers, and we'll try to give you a hand. But I'll say again, Ivan, if you called in and says, I don't know what to do, I'm not to say, tell me how to write my appeal, write every word for me. We're not allowed to do that, honestly. Yes, and we have 5 people starting tomorrow, 2 in Grand Falls, Gander, Glenwood, and 3 on the West Coast, Cornerbrook, St. George's, and Stephenville, who have been hired.
Where located in St. George's?
In the museum, band office.
For the help on the appeals, what I've done today, myself and Linda, we spent all afternoon doing this. It's a document that we've prepared. I've only have 28 copies because we didn't finish until 25:05 and then I had to get ready to come out here. So we tried to put it in as simple language as we can. So it tells you step by step how to fill out the appeal. The only problem is, in order for you to do a good job, you have to have your file, because you have to argue what they denied you on.
Ask for a copy, not the file.
Yeah, so when you call 1-800-561-2266, ask them to forward you a copy of your file.
You don't need that file if you're going to appeal though, do you?
Yes, you do.
But it tells you on your appeal why you're disqualified.
You don't need it to appeal, but in order for you to write the appeal, how can you remember 5 years ago what you had in your file?
If I may, Adele, it might be the case that some people don't need that file, but anybody who thinks they need it to help them make their appeal, they should request their file.
A lot of this information is done by a lawyer, okay? So what I want you to do, there are 6 paragraphs, and it talks about our human rights and about things in the agreement, in the supplementary agreement, that is against human rights. So I want you to add that into your documentation. I called today to see if we had to use the little space that's there on the application form, the appeals form. They told me no, but when you do that, make sure that you sign that paper. Because if you haven't got it signed, it'll go in the garbage. They didn't tell me that, but that's what they meant.
Hi.
Chief, I was wondering, is there a on-island list and off-island list for our residents?
There should be somewhere, because there has to be a master file that tells where everybody is from. I'm still waiting to get a file from Canada to help us make the appeals that we're going to make for people. So we have to get our hands on that master disc. Actually, we'll go to our lawyer in St. John's, and he will record these appeals based on information that we pick out of this master file. But somewhere there should be a statement of who lives on the island in our Aboriginal communities, who lives on the island in non-Aboriginal communities, and who lives on the mainland. That must be somewhere, Bobby, but I don't know how to get it yet. Okay?